an open beaker of water in equilibrium with water vapor is in a sealed container. Okay, so he says that there is an open beaker, it has got water inside, which is placed inside a sealed container. Now this is this, if I would have been in your place in the examination hall, I would have made this diagram. It always helps and it doesn't take much of a time. Okay, so I'll say that over here I have got one open beaker, here I have got some water or some solution in it. So this is how we are having the diagram. Now it says that what you have to do, you have to add few grams of glucose. Now glucose is a non-volatile solute. So they are added to the beaker of water, fine. Now what will happen? See, if it is in equilibrium, it must be exerting some vapor pressure, agreed? When it is exerting some vapor pressure and you are adding a non-volatile solute, what happens? You are talking about the colligative properties. What is the first colligative property? Relative lowering of vapor pressure. The glucose molecules will occupy some volume on the surface, right, and they will not allow a few solvent particles to go to the vapor phase. So suppose if initially there were 10 vapor particles going, fine, but now because of this glucose there might be 7 or there might be 6, that is referred to as lowering of vapor pressure. So dear friends, now the rate at which the water molecules leave the solution, what will happen? The rate will decrease. So the right answer should be the rate at which water molecules leave the solution decreases. So choice number 4. Okay, fine. Next is consider the following reactions. Glucose plus alcohol gives acetal. You are using some X equivalent of acetic anhydride to get an acetyl derivative. Okay, here also you are getting acetyl derivative, and in the third one also you are getting the acyl derivative. Okay. Oh, you have to find out how many equivalents of acetic anhydride you are using in these reactions respectively. Nice question. Let's see how to do it. Most of the students would think, sir, this is biomolecule, sir. I didn't study it properly. I didn't mugged it up. No need of it. If you just remember the structure of biomolecule, the structure of glucose, I would like to make up over here, and then we will do the reaction one by one, and you will see that it is a very easy question. See, I'll make the structure of glucose over here. It is a aldohexose, which means there should be 6 carbon atoms. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Fine. Now how do you remember it? Where the OH is placed, where the H is placed, I'll give you a very simple trick. So on the first carbon you have got the aldehyde, on the last carbon it should be CH2OH. Okay. Now the third carbon is the naughty carbon. The third carbon is the naughty carbon. On the third carbon the OH is on the left side, else in all the cases the H is placed like this. And you see the placement of hydrogen and OH only on the third carbon, first, second, third. On the third carbon you are having OH on the left, otherwise it is on the right. Done? That's it. That's the structure of glucose. Now let us see what this person is saying. It says you reacted with alcohol in the presence of dry HCl to form acetal. Okay. So when you form acetal, I hope you remember, when you form acetal, on the carbonyl carbon you will be having COR linkages, 2 COR linkage, right? Okay. So how many OH are now left out? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you are going to use acetic anhydride, how many equivalent would be used? So basically you are having acetyl derivative. So this acetic anhydride is going to react with the OH group. How many are there? 5. So X should be equal to 5. Okay. Now next case you are reacting it with NiH2. So NiH2, what it will do? It will convert this aldehydic group into the alcoholic group. Now how many OH are there? 5 plus 1, 6. So Y should be equal to? So Y should be equal to 6. Okay. Let's go ahead. So you see, just the structure of glucose is helping us out. In the third case, you are directly reacting it with acetic anhydride. Now, how many OH are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the value of z should be 5. So it is 5, 6, 5. Let us see which choice is correct. Also, you should also see here it is written x, y and z. Many a times they play very in a tricky way. They will say x, z and y. Now because you have got 5, 6 and 5, you look for 5, 6 and 5, but maybe over here they are asking the different trend. So you have to be careful, read every letter very carefully, where the comma is placed, where the full stop is there, where is the question mark, it is very important, okay. So it is 5, 6 and 5, so the right answer is choice number 4, okay. Appear to be tough, but it is not tough, but a good question, right. Let us go to the next one. Which one of the following graph is not for ideal guess? Oh, okay. It's D versus T, and so there are 4 graphs, D versus T, D versus 1 by T, D versus P. D is density, P is pressure and T is temperature. Okay, let me put the frame so that we can read the question and all the choices properly. Yeah, now fine. Okay, so what is the relation between D, P and T? See, when you talk about the ideal gas, you say P is equal to D R T by m naught, where m naught is the molar mass of the gas. So as per this relation, I can say that D should be inversely proportional to T. First case, let us see what graph can you plot. So if D is inversely proportional to T, yes, this is correct. If D is inversely proportional to, no, this is not correct, this is wrong. Third, D is inversely proportional to T, but you are making a graph between D and 1 by T, then this graph is right. Okay, last is D proportional to P. Yeah, from here you can simply see D is directly proportional to P. So this graph is also correct. What is it that they are asking? They are asking for the graph which is not correct. Okay. They are playing with words a lot. Many a times they are saying not correct. I see most of the students say, oh, this is right, sir, first is right. But they are not asking correct, they are asking not correct. So the second one is not correct, my dear friends. So second one means the first choice. So this is the right answer. Okay. Do you rate this as a difficult or an easy one? I will call it an easy one. The only, I hope all of you remember P is equal to dRT by m naught, and graphs you can easily plot. So I will say that is an easy question. Okay. You should get full marks in this.